Welcome to the Explainer. If you live anywhere in Bastrop County, you've definitely seen it. Heck, you probably sat in it. The orange cones, the giant cranes, the construction crews. I mean, they're everywhere, right? But what is actually being built? And maybe more importantly, when is it all going to be done? Well, today, we're going to break down the 6 huge projects that are totally reshaping how we all get around. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get into the why behind this massive construction boom. Then, we'll zoom in on the local projects connecting our neighborhoods before we look at the really big highway overhauls. And finally, we'll put it all in a timeline to see what the road ahead really looks like for all of us.
So let's kick things off with the big question. Why is all of this happening, like right now? It really does feel like overnight construction just took over the entire county.
The answer isn't just one simple thing, but it really all points back to a single, powerful force that you can feel every time you're stuck in traffic on Highway 71 or you see another new housing development popping up out of nowhere. It's all about growth, pure and simple. The county is just expanding at this incredible rate, and let's be honest, our roads are feeling the strain. So this huge wave of construction isn't just about patching up a few problems. It's a massive, coordinated effort to try and get ahead of the curve, to make sure our community can keep moving safely and efficiently for years to come. So how do you even begin to manage that kind of growth? Well, you start at the local level. Let's take a look at 2 projects that are really designed to make our daily lives just a little bit easier by connecting neighborhoods right where people actually live. First up is a project with a price tag of $5.27 million. And here's the good news. This one is almost done. It's set to bring some immediate relief to a really fast-growing part of the city. This is the Agnes Street Extension, and its goal is totally laser-focused, to give all those new homes and businesses south of Highway 71 a much-needed new artery. For the residents there, this is a game-changer. It means you're no longer being funneled onto just 1 or 2 super-crowded roads to get anywhere. And following that same logic, we've got the Blakey Lane Extension. This is a $7 to $8 million project that's going to connect Edward Burleson Lane with Old Austin Highway. What's kind of cool here is that the city is really thinking ahead. They're even exploring putting in a modern roundabout to keep traffic flowing smoothly from day one. Okay, next up, we're looking at a project that's not about building brand new roads, but it's about a different kind of really essential work, fixing and rebuilding the streets that we all rely on every single day. And that work is being backed by a $4.36 million investment. And it's not just about getting a smoother ride. It's about making sure our core city streets can actually handle the weight of all this new traffic. And just to be clear, we are not talking about patching a few potholes here. This is a complete pavement reconstruction on some key downtown arteries, Farm, Linden, and Water Streets. It's being funded by something called certificates of obligation, which are basically loans the city takes out for these kinds of major public upgrades. And this is just phase 1. Once these sections are rebuilt, the crews are going to move on to the next segments. All right, we've covered the local streets. Now it's time to zoom out to the big leagues, the massive multi-million-dollar projects that are designed to finally fix the highway bottlenecks that drive us all crazy. And here it is, the single biggest price tag of them all, $58.5 million. That's the kind of investment being made to overhaul one of the county's most notorious intersections. All that money is being aimed squarely at the intersection of Highway 71 and Tucker Hill Lane. The funding is coming from TDOT, that's the Texas Department of Transportation, and the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, or CAMPO. Jordan Foster Construction is the company tasked with completely reimagining how traffic moves through this major choke point. So how are they going to do it? Well, the plan is to completely get rid of the stoplight for through traffic on Highway 71 by building an overpass. This lets that highway traffic just flow freely, while new one-way frontage roads will handle all the local access. It's a really comprehensive fix that also, importantly, improves safety for cyclists and pedestrians. But the big job on Highway 71 isn't the only major plan in the works. Planners are also looking even further down the road at another critical artery, Highway 290. Yeah, the region's mobility authority is starting to tackle a 15-mile stretch of Highway 290. Now, this one is still in the very early days. They're still in the design phase, and we're not even going to see a first draft until the middle of 2026. And that means the final cost and the full scope are still TBD. Okay, finally, let's look at one last pretty unique project before we put all the pieces together and really look at the total scope of work and the timeline for all this change. See, not all transportation projects are for cars. This one is all about preserving a piece of our local heritage for a different kind of traffic, pedestrians and cyclists, through what's being called a full rehabilitation. The historic Old Iron Bridge is getting a $10.1 million rehabilitation. It's getting a whole new deck, steel repairs, and even decorative lights to become a real showcase for pedestrians and cyclists. And hey, if you've been wondering about that annoying lane closure on the Loop 150 bridge, this is why. It's the staging area for all that work. So when you lay it all out, the timeline is pretty tight. The next 2 years are going to be a period of really intense activity. We'll see the Agnes Street project wrap up just as that huge Highway 71 overpass begins. Then, by the end of 2026, we should have a restored Old Iron Bridge and our very first look at the future of Highway 290. It's a lot happening in a very short amount of time. And when you actually tally up the price tags for just the projects that are already funded, the grand total is pretty staggering. We're talking more than $85 million being invested in our roads. And you got to remember, that number doesn't even include whatever the final cost for that Highway 290 expansion is going to be. So this massive investment in concrete and steel really leaves us with one final question. With all this work happening, what will Bastrop County actually look, feel, and move like in a decade? Because these projects aren't just changing our roads, they're laying the foundation for the kind of community we're all about to become.